Just follow me on this one for a bit. I promise it'll make sense. I hope. Five Nights at Freddy's is a point-and-click horror series made by a man desperate to have one of his games succeed after several failed attempts. The series takes place over several in-game days each time, but the narrative spans about 40 years at this point. The main characters of the game are either the same guy under a different name until we get 2 games in, where these kids could be the same kid or different because mystery. The ongoing narrative about a purple man named William Afton, who initially killed 5 kids and then stuffed them into animatronic suits to hide the body, is a story that is mostly only confirmed in speculation until like the 5th or 6th game of the series. It's hard to keep track at this point. Eventually, he spurred on to try to make new robots for the sick thrill of kidnapping kids and killing them, but oh no, his daughter gets killed, so now he just wallows in grief until he dies. But then, wait, no, he's not dead. Then he is, then he isn't. All under different names, but underneath it all, it's the same damn guy. All of this culminates in a big everybody's here sort of thing where not only do all the robots die, but so does Willy. But even then he comes back in other ways, and everyone collectively threw up their hands and went, oh, come on! Kingdom Hearts is a bright and happy JRPG that deals with the ever-growing complexity of growing up and dealing with the fact that life has problems and believing in one's heart. Made by a man who was already sick of doing things others wanted him to do, so went, we're doing this my way. The games follow a bright and happy boy named Sora who goes from location to location stopping enemies and making friends along the way. The main antagonist of the series, Xehanort, has been trying to start a war for like 40 years now and has murdered countless children in order to do it, all for his own curiosity. Once the man has gotten enough followers, he decides to bring them all together in an everybody's here sort of thing, only to be defeated and fade away. Except not really. Oh, and there's something here about a traumatic past, but we'll get to that in a second. These seem like 2 very different stories on their own, but when you compare them, the details line up a bit more than you'd think. Both series have an insane amount of lore that is impossible to keep track of if you're not a fucking expert on it. Both have an insane amount of games, 5 made ones, a prequel, a middle installment that gets things clearer but needs paying off, a final entry with tons of delays, a minigame thing to tide fans over, said finale being people's first entry into the series and veterans hating it while newcomers loving it, the main characters of half the games looking or being related to each other in one way or another, a girl clad in white who whisper talks everything and is known for being sweet and deceitful at the same time, a rogues gallery of villains that are the main attraction for most people, one of whom becomes a beloved character in the most recent installment simply due to the personality shift, and everyone complaining that the newest installment isn't as good as the 3rd game in that respective series. And that's just the game-related stuff. The antagonists are essentially the same guy, but one just has more forehead veins. Master Xehanort and William Afton are 2 of the most infamously confusing bad guys to follow if you don't keep a notepad handy. One wants revenge and his family back, and one wants to restart the world to get his family back. Wait a second. Yeah, while their goals have the same goal in mind, the way they get there is surprisingly similar. William wanted to get back at the creature that killed his son by getting back at its creator, driven mad at his own incompetence for not only allowing this to happen, but also his robot killing his daughter as well, who is now a devoted follower called Baby. Not to mention his eldest son Michael, who is now ostracized because he's why the youngest son was bitten to begin with. Slowly but surely, he's turned his family away from him and made them into monsters. Meanwhile, Xehanort saw his friends and family die in front of him and, after a lifetime of loss, decided to fix that problem, to reset the world back to before any of this happened and set things right. In that process, he betrayed his best friend, took on several pupils, and when he met a boy of pure light, decided to extract what little darkness there was in him to create a devout follower who sowed more chaos for him. Even the ways they're defeated is similar. Xehanort worked alone in his final battle, bringing his followers to be struck down in pursuit of his goal, while William was lured by everyone else coming together to keep him there to burn and be tortured for all of time. While one faded away to a better place, the other was burned and sent somewhere to be made a jump scare toy. It's weird in a way. Hell, the 2 even killed their former friend to achieve their goal, thus spurring on their underlings to try to stop them. They even have different forms that are just slight variations on themselves to be a whammy for the audience. This Riku meme also rings true for the multiple versions of Bonnie and Freddy when you get right down to it. The only tangible difference these 2 series have is their tone. One is a big, happy, earnest series of silly, funny people going through teen angst, and the other is a child-murdering indie horror series with literally 3 characters that I like, all from the same game, and that's mostly because that's the only game to have real characters besides Baby. What I'm getting at is that I find it weird that one of these is derided as confusing and wrong and stupid by the internet, like it's somehow a really bad thing to like because the story wasn't spoon-fed every step of the way, but then the other is lauded as an engaging mystery, when in reality it's just good for theory YouTube, because the story has such loose connecting threads that you basically have to make most of it up and see if people buy it. It feels very insecure to me. That or it's all just one massive coincidence. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what the point of this video is. I had a thought and it just wouldn't leave, and now this is currently the thing you're watching. No, I've never played FNaF aside from like 2 hours of Security Breach, and no, I haven't read the books. All I've done is consume this weird thing through the internet's insistence that it'd be everywhere all the time at once. I basically went down a glitch trap hole about a week ago, and now I'm here. What even is my life sometimes?